Welcome back to Table Talk with ABFI. I'm Matt Knight. I'll be your host again today. Today we're joined by the Sunner family of Durabuilt Windows. So welcome Joe, Harry, and Henny. If we could just get maybe a quick introduction of each of you, just kind of tell me, kind of 10, 15 seconds about yourself and your role with the company and I guess the role with the family as well. Maybe we'll start with you, Joe.
Well, my name is Joe Sunner, obviously, and I have a family, one son, 3 grandkids, 2 daughters, 2 granddaughters, 1 grandson, beautiful daughter-in-law, as well as that, I have a wife and running the Durabuilt Windows from last 29 years. This is close to 30 years. So this is, in a nutshell, that, I come from India, and 1994, I came in here and running the night business that, from 1995, obviously with the support of the whole family and the whole Canadian community as well.
Wonderful. Awesome. Thank you. Harry.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Matt. So I'm the son, I guess second generation, and my name's Henny Sunner. I'm CEO of Durabuilt Windows and Doors. Started my journey, born and bred in England. Was in England for about 20 years of my first phase of life, and then my father decided that we're going to make a move across the ocean, and so we landed in Edmonton, in beautiful country of Canada, and been here for 29 years, and had the fortunate opportunity to grow and scale the business for 29 years, and here we are today.
Wonderful. It's quite the journey. And Henny, how about yourself?
And last but not least, I'm the granddaughter and the daughter here. My name is Henny Sunner, and I'm at Durabuilt, the marketing and renovation sales manager. A little bit about myself is I've been in the business since the day I was born, and I guess every dinner table talk that we've had and every staff barbecue and stuff. So been in the business for a long time, and it's a really, we've grown a lot, and there's a big shoe to fill there. So just working day by day with some very good mentors by my side. So yeah.
Awesome. And then for anyone who doesn't know what Durabuilt Windows and Doors does, maybe Harry, do you want to do a quick kind of elevator pitch of how do you describe Durabuilt in kind of 20 to 30 seconds?
Yeah, Durabuilt, it was an ambition in the beginning, and it was just a window and door company with about 12 people in 1994 when we actually took over the business. And since then, we've grown to be, that ambition has gone from having some raving fans in our industry of who we are and what we do, and we pride ourselves on the envelope. We're a product that needs to last a lifetime of a building science cycle, and we're approximately 700 people today serving across Western Canada, and we have a strong anchor in B2C renovation business, dealer distribution business, and new home, multi-family, single-family home business as well, serving across Western Canada today.
And Joe, can you tell us a little bit about your journey in starting Durabuilt with Harry? So, what are maybe a couple of the key challenges or milestones that stick out?
Well, I don't know where should I start the journey. Let's talk about my journey. That my journey is come with a lot of bumps in my life, and it's very hard to find the comparison of my life with somebody else. I born in Punjab, India. I lost my mom when I was 5 years old, or less than 5 years. I brought up with my grandmom, and walking to school 2 miles each way. Couldn't success that in the school either. Start working with my family, and as a farming, that's the financial, that's not good enough either. So my dad decided to kick me to England. So I moved to England while I was only 22 years on my own, with no sports and no family. no education. And so start from there in England, start working in the foundry, approximately 14 years in the foundry, and then start developing my own friendship cycle there. And then about 87, we trying to start our own business. And then 1994, that, I decided Canada is a better country, better for the family, better for the opportunity. And then I got my son and my wife to Canada in late 1994. And that's another journey when I was only in my 40s. And I just jumped myself that, in the unknown. One can say that, jump it, swim or die. That's the situation I had. Luckily, I had a good support from my son and the rest of the family as it grow, and his wife or my wife that, and the grandkids that, that's what has happened. There was a lot of struggle, and I involved with the Durabuilt, wasn't planned, wasn't the experience. Again, is a jumping in the new life in late 40s is not an easy way to do that.
Yeah.
So that's from there.
Oh, okay. And Harry, what kind of led you, you would have been like 19, 20 at the time when you were moving from the UK to Edmonton.
Yeah.
So your dad comes to you one day and is like, hey, we're moving to Edmonton. And your first question is probably like, where's Edmonton? What was kind of going through your mind? What took you to follow your father on this journey?
He's pretty compelling. He's convincing. I was naive and stupid at what I felt at the time. But I knew of Edmonton. I actually came to Edmonton when I was 14 years old. Our first cousins live in Edmonton, and they've been here in the 70s. And so that's really the only reason we knew of Edmonton in Canada. And so, he saw what was in best interest. My original goals were to be in business. From the age of 12, I was always inspired by business. My goal was to finish education at the minimal level as quick as possible so I could get out and be into some small entrepreneurial spirit business with my father was the goal. So when we landed in Edmonton, I think approximately November 1994, I remember saying to my father that whatever we do, we had very small cash coming in to the country. Whatever we do, we'll do together till the day we can't.
27th of November at 5 p.m.
And it was probably minus 32 at the time too.
That's the first day of the snow on that year.
And coming in, that was the statement. And I wasn't going to go to college. I wasn't going to go to university. I wasn't going to go get any degrees. It was straight to business. And whatever that business looked like, probably our first intentions was retail. That's all the experience we had. And then, we came into the opportunity with a business at Durabuilt. At the time, my first job here in Canada was I was working a graveyard shift at Max. Was my first job for about $6 an hour at the Collingwood West End Max store for a few months while we were navigating to see what business we were going to do. And, that was really the start point. And I do remember for the first 3 years, I said that as soon as we have enough money, I'm going back to England. Because you leave your friend cycle, you leave all your culture, you don't know anybody here other than your relatives. And so it was a tough beginning when you leave at 19, 20, but 3 years have long gone and we're still here today and loving it.
Yeah. How did Durabuilt first come about? So was it like, how did you find the opportunity? Like where did that come from?
It happened to be actually we went in to the business with one of our relatives that was looking to have a partner in the business, and it was a business that was not doing well. vinyl windows and doors was their kind of main product line in a very small company. And I think the current owner of the company at the time started to hound my father, and I'm sure he can add to this. And from that point, we said no multiple of times until, they kept being pestered, and then, we kind of decided to take a leap and give it a try, even though we were very immature in that side of business, whether it's manufacturing or even a scale of business in the window and door industry. We had no idea, but that was really kind of the stepping stones of kind of how we kind of started getting into it. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Well, I just walked in with my brother-in-law, that my wife's sister's husband, and the guy knows him very well. He just called us in the office, and he asked, my brother introduced me, brother-in-law, and he said he's looking for the business because we came here as a business peoples. He said, oh, business is here. I said, no. We don't have any experience that, I don't want to do that. And he said, oh, business, you will learn that. And just like that, conversation started from there. And he started following up because either he has to be involved with me or somebody, or he has to be shut the doors. That was the situation at that time. And I do remember that, first year when we involved that, on the first year when we took it over, that, the sale was $1.6 million with the negative of $96,000 for the whole year. That's what the position we took it at that time. And somehow we didn't get along together because he's a nice person. He's still around, no doubt for that. But it did not connect with us that, it's a different view, different, everything is different. We still meet each other, we still have a lunch together, but he's a nice guy, but his opinion is completely different. And from there, we pick it up that, is do or die because we need the food on the table. So failure is not the option at all. Right. And we used to be that, when we used to go to home, we search, where is the avenue? What is that? So we didn't know anything at all. I didn't know anything, where is my bank? So that's where we pick up the success and go from there.
Wow. So a couple of years go by, you take over this company, 19 people. Henny, you come into the picture at some point through this journey, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned you grew up at, understanding Windows and hearing about the industry your whole life. What led you to want to join your dad and your grandpa in this adventure?
Yeah, well, I got a different perspective on the journey from when, from my position. So obviously I started seeing the journey from, they took sole ownership basically the year I was born. So a good or bad thing, I don't know. But the year I was born. And so that time of the business, there was a lot of hardship and, things were not so good. And they were working super hard, like 7 days a week. I still remember as a core memory that Harry, my dad, obviously he made sure that every Sunday we would have, daddy-daughter days. And he made sure even in the realm of how much is going on that every Sunday we always hung out. And looking back in hindsight now, I can only imagine how hard that was when he was working with him and my granddad, basically like 12 to 12 kind of, or, 24 hours around the clock to get this business in a place that's successful. So I think every year I saw the hardship come by, and you didn't realize it at the time, but when you look in hindsight, there was a lot of work. There was a lot of pain. It's a hard industry to scale in. There was competitors in the space at the time that were close to the size we are now that they were trying to catch up to. So, we went to every staff barbecue, Christmas event when this new design galleries opened. We were there, trade shows. So, I don't think it was an intentional way, but I slowly, it became kind of, we became a part of it, obviously, as you do. I went to university, U of A, and with a finance degree. I've graduated finance and accounting, and I kind of made the decision. I had a couple of options to go a different path. job-wise, but started working at Durabuilt in 2016 and service department, accounting, estimating through the ways, and marketing is where I've landed, and renovation sales is the other division I've got. And so I feel fortunate to be a part of the journey. Later, obviously, they've kind of, it's at a point where we're at such a strong position now, and we're growing and we'll only continue to grow. So I think my pressure is going to be different than what they've gone through. It's going to be, here's the business today. How do you either grow or sustain that or become a stronghold in that? So that's a different pressure I think you get as a second or third generation. They kind of started same generation, but I think that's the different pressure you get.
Yeah. So obviously, different challenges for all three generations going through this business journey in the last 29 years. Maybe a good question here, and I'll bring it to you, Harry. How have you balanced family and business dynamics over the years? So we heard from Henny early on. It was those Sunday daddy-daughter dates that really made kind of an impact in her remembering that to this day. But how do you handle working with your family members and your daughter and your dad every day?
I think it starts from two special women, I think, in our lives. One is my mother and the other one's my wife, that have been kind of a very strong anchor in the personal space of our life, because if we didn't have that strength, you need to focus where you need to focus, and that was the business, and to have the acceptance to be able to work as long as you need to, be out there and take care of kids' food and life at home, which is as critical as your life in business. So I think that really is our foundation and point. And for a good 10 years or 11 years of that first phase of life, it was 7 days a week, other than the exception of kid time on Sunday. I was married at the age of 19, so very young age. Had our first child, Henny, at 23. So had the bolts put down on me pretty quick in terms of responsibilities and trying to mature up, and then at the same time had a business to grow. So it allowed me to have my ambition to say, we're going to make something out of this when you've got family support the way we have and had. And from that point, I probably went through 5 or 7 ulcers at the time of that lifestyle, when you just work, but you do everything possible to get to some level of success, some foundation, some footings. And, and that was equally the same on how we did, and some very key people that today are with us, our COO and our VP of operations. Like, we had some people there that ignited with us together when we were a very small team. And, they were each other's pillars. One wobbles, the other one gets you, the other one wobbles, the others have got you, right? And I think that's really how it all came about. And that was the kind of the first 10-year phase was really a very, very difficult phase for the business.
Yeah. Wow.
I'll add one thing. I think they navigated something else that a lot of immigrant families or other families have to navigate through, is they were living together and working together. So I think the fact that these two, I think I always look up to them, because I see, father and son dynamic. They navigated father-son dynamic at work and at home. And I thought they did an excellent job of it. And ups and downs, of course, but that's another thing that I think maybe is important.
Yeah, that's another layer that makes things.
Getting along is a difficult task, whether you're partners, business, and even family on top of that makes it even more difficult, right? To compromise with each other to be successful.
Yeah. Can't even imagine that conversation with your wife when you were 19 saying, hey, we're going to move in with my parents. We're going to own a business together.
That's right.
We don't know anything about windows and doors, but we know we can do this.
Yeah. It's the blind risk, a lot of risk and unknown territory, and restlessness to not give up, You know, we were always a not give up attitude. And I mean, when you trace back some of the dark times, I don't know if I'd ever redo this again, because you don't know what you don't know ahead of you.
Yeah.
And when you look back and someone told you that you're going to do this to this to this to get to that, I would probably say no. You know, that I'm not going to go through that type of pain for that type of success. But that's entrepreneurship, I think, and that's many businesses probably would echo a similar story.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
Well, I want to add that some little bit more that, you know, what he said about about my daughter-in-law, that, you know, is unknown or whatever it is, that, you know, but she's so nice, and I know her family as well before they born. But to be honest with you, that, you know, where she's hitting when after the marriage, when she was coming on the aeroplane, me and her was sitting together. And basically, I explained her everything within a 6 hours flight, 7 hours flight, how much we owe the money to the peoples, and what you are hitting for that. And she wasn't surprised, but she always support us there. And I did support that as well. It's a great combinations, and I feel I'm very lucky for that. The whole family is great. And then when we come to the Durabuilt family, is creating one by one. Amar is involved with us within 3 months, and then Sunny Calicut, that, you know, he involved with that, and then other people start involving as we start growing, as we start establishing. We are lucky enough that, you know, those peoples are still working with us, and there is no spill with us. We're still working together. We still live and breathe together as well, including the families. So this is something really to proud of, all of us, and I'm proud of myself as well, who try to control all the group together.
So it sounds like, kind of to summarize a little bit of that, you know, that transparency and openness was one of those things that helped lead to some of the success. What other kind of advice or wisdom would you pass on to someone looking to start a business with a family member?
First thing is that, you know, you have to be prepared for the compromise. You are only one person. Nobody is comparable with you. There's only one person you are. If you're expecting somebody will be exactly same like you, that will never happen. And maybe that's only the strength. If that's your partner or your co-worker or even son or father, whoever it is, that, you know, if he's 100% comparable, then what's the life? How you can grow? I'm different. You are different. He's different. His opinion is different. Mine is different. That's why we can make another opinion. We have to prepare for the compromise. How we can get along together. How you want to be refused. How you would expect the refuse that, you know, if something is refusing this, why is it refusing that? Are you accepting that, or your ego is standing there? Try. When you're deciding, you can have discussions, but when you decided, then don't put the blame on each other that, you know, you said that, that's why it didn't happen. Or I said that, that's why I had success. Now, we decided, either we have to deal with that, good or bad. Not like I will get the credit for the good ones, he will get for bad ones. No.
Yeah, so
That's the main one I would advise, that, you know, when you're getting the partnership, either wife and husband or whoever it is, that, you know, they have to be ready to preparation that, you know, whatever you decide. But once you decided, you are responsible for the both sides of the coin.
Yeah, so kind of lean in on those differences, you know, feel open to disagree, but then commit and move forward together. Excellent. So on that note, Harry, you know, probably throughout the years, at some point, there's been some, you know, differences between you and your father and in the vision for the company. How have you, you know, been able to align or differ these and work through those, and kind of so how did these visions for the company align or differ, and how did you move ahead and integrate these to move forward?
Lots of arguments, feuds. The best thing about, I think, I call it, whether it's partnership or relationship, because the business is partnership, not relationship. And at home you have a relationship. But with the understanding of I'm a pretty high risk, go forward mentality, and my father's very low risk adverse, and either or don't succeed. If you're too high risk, you're going to be volatile to failing. And maybe if I did this all on my own, I may have gone bankrupt twice along the way, because you're overarching yourself too much, or you're going too fast. And maybe the other way, you don't grow if you're too low risk and risk adverse, right? So, that was been our secret recipe, to be honest with you, that one lifts the other and one brings the other down if you're going too high. But when growing the business, the biggest thing is to compromise. And as you get older, you get more mature to learn that, right? And experience builds. But during that journey, we had some tough times in not aligning to direction, not aligning to growth path, whether it was changing our brand, it was changing certain things in the organization with a vision. But rightfully, those what if scenarios keep you in check. And then those are the times where people can say, yeah, it's okay to fail, but is it really? If you have compromise and you're listening to your partner or your relationships, why do we need to fail to a point where you go that far down, right? So, yeah, I think the relationship has been a lot more stronger. It gets stronger when you get successful, and it gets weak when you're not successful, right? Because you're frustrated and you're working hard every day for 12 hours, and so you're all working hard. But if you're not successful, you're gonna have arguments, you're gonna have misalignments, you're gonna have frustrations, and that's what we have gone through a number of times over the course of the journey. And we're lucky to have some people, again, around us at work and at home that have tempered us, that have kind of filtered or been a space in between the relationship and the partnership, because it does take that much when you're both driven to drive to get successful.
Yeah. So you touched a little bit on that relationship that you have with kind of your father and your family members. Henny, how have you found your relationship with your father or your grandfather change once you come in and start working full time? Like, what has that been like for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's twofold. It's very rewarding when things are good. I'm close to my family, and I've always have been. So the fact that I get to work with my family, I think daughter and father is different than daughter and son. I will say that. I've seen two dynamics, but the relationship's grown. I think that we've all gotten closer. I think we're closer than I would have been if I went a different path. But then there's also the natural spillover into keeping it separate from your home life, and how do you not impact everyone else around. I have a sister and a brother, and I still live at home. I will until I'm married, probably.
Or maybe even after.
Maybe after. Just kidding. But yeah, you just have to be careful not to let it spill over. But for the most part, I would say I love it. I get to work. I enjoy working with both of them and seeing them all the time. And then, yeah, I think they do a very good job of keeping the relationship professional and not letting emotion spill into it. So I think from their learning experiences, I report directly into my dad for the marketing side, not renovation sales, but marketing, and does a good job of keeping it professional and separate. So I think that's come from all the learnings that they've had. So I love it. I guess in short form, I love it.
Awesome. No, and it seems like, from the smiles that you got from both your dad and grandfather when you gave that answer, it seems like it's been a really good fit for everyone.
I'm smiling because we almost had a bit of a few 10-minute sport capsules. So I'm like, I'm glad she didn't bring that one up. But, she takes it on the chin like a son as well. So
I think that the thing people don't realize is almost when you're family, people always think, oh, you get the easy breeze. If anything, I feel like it's the opposite, that you get the hardest shoulder, you get the hardest, most upfront, blunt feedback and direction that is most of the time people don't realize harsher than what most other people in the organization get. So that's something that I guess I think there's a lot of people who work in a family business and they could probably relate to that you probably get the harshest feedback or most straightforward, and that's because that they want to be successful and we're all aligned on that vision. So end of the day, we know that, and I know they're doing it for the best intention. So
very, very high expectations, We start from ourselves, and then obviously they're going to trickle to, I have very high expectations of her being successful, and the gratitude. We're not really a high gratitude family. So I've learned on the pat on the back and good job is important. He only started doing this about 5-6 years ago, and prior to that, it was never good enough, right? Or how do you be better? And that's really how I've been grown up. He's been grown up in harsher climate for that, and so I try to temper and learn. Say, for this generation, it is the gratifications are important, inspiration's important, and it's not always about good enough's not good enough, right? And I think that's how I'm brought up. That doesn't matter how high or how good of a goal you've achieved, it's still not good enough. There's always imperfections, and I'm used to that, thick skin around that, but I'm always mindful that that's not the case for everybody, and especially your coworkers and people around you, right? So you learn that over time.
Well, Matt, I don't know if this is the right time to say that. If it's not the right, you guys can edit this. Sorry. Our family, not this family, my family background is very, very aggressive, all-rounder, very aggressive. My dad was very aggressive. Yes. So I changed a lot, and what they call that, if something, even that, when you go to the doctor, they ask that, if your family is possible with heart attack or cancer, because that's in the genes. So I have in the genes that aggressiveness in my genes very strongly. I can't imagine myself how much I changed that genes or try to be changed that. And he's the same way, she's the same way, is aggressive. What there is no way near what's my father, because I try to be changed that all the time. He said that, it's never good enough. That comes in my genes. And you can't ignore that. Right? At the same time that, you always have to pick up that what's missed. Because your weaknesses is your growth. Your strength is not your growth. Your weakness is in the growth, because you can improve your weakness. That makes you grow. Either you are doing the exercise or whatever you do, you need to improve the weaknesses to make it strength. So that's what I tried. That's why he said that, from last 6 years, 7 years, it happening. Yes, its majority is coming, and I'm working on myself that from last 50 years, how you can cool down the aggressiveness to make it right. It's very hard work that, but I think I done that. But nobody can imagine that, how I done that, why I done that. Nobody can imagine that. Not them, and nobody can imagine that.
Still.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna try something a little different here, and it's not scripted. So, so you said you've been working on trying to figure out that gratitude piece,
Right.
And that you maybe don't talk to Harry as much as you normally do about how you feel about what he's doing. Anything you want to say to Harry right now about how he's running the business and how he's grown things over the last couple of years?
No, it's not couple of years that not never. No, he knows that you never have feel shy to say that. Since he start working, he starts helping me on the right way. He loves me a lot as well that he's supporting me right from the heart and physically, that whatever he can do that, he did that. And my business, that since I started the business, he's the main part. Either he was 16 or not, he was the main part. He is the main part. I'm not shy to say that. I never said that, never shy to say that. I did say that a lot of times.
Cool. So I'm going to switch gears again, look at a little bit of the future. So and I'll ask you first, Harry, where do you see the company in the next 5 to 10 years? And what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that might face the industry?
So obviously, as an industry as a whole, especially in the country, in the province, we have constraints in housing. And that's just as an industry, economic climate that is, the immigration and how the country wants to grow and how the economies need to grow, which is housing needs and affordability. The energy compliances are coming stronger and stronger around the envelope. So when it comes down to our piece as a business, windows and doors, we're thriving into the future. Our present and future opportunities are very ripe. But we have a lot of work to do to stay ahead of the curve and be a strong foothold for our building partners and the industry. And we pride ourselves in the envelope. How do we drive innovation? How do we drive technology? The AI side is becoming a very integral part to how we merge that into our environment. The technology, robotics and automation is huge. Our teams, we have a large team of people working on that current and future state of automation and how we remain strong in Edmonton as a manufacturing industry. Manufacturing is not big in this country. There's not a lot of things that are made, products are made and brought and sold in Canada. So how do we stay ahead of the curve? We're 700 people today. We're going to grow people, we're going to grow clients, we're going to grow the business. We have very strong opportunities to be North America. So we're working on how we can be that Edmontonian, Alberta-built company that can be as large as we think we can be and as strong as we think we can be to envelope and windows and doors, and how that experience becomes the best, next to none, than anybody in America, states, or competitors across any territory, province, or country. Like we have it in us in Edmonton to be that company, and as do many other businesses. Manufacturing has a very good runway because as automation comes in and as technologies come in, I think whether it's China or overseas, where manufacturing was at strongest point, we have a stronger opportunity because they have access to the same robotics. Labor isn't the component always now that's going to differentiate your product being overseas or not overseas. So I think any manufacturing industry or any industry now has a little bit more level playing field. That's how I see some of the future coming in.
And Joe, you were mentioning you're a little bit less active in kind of the day-to-day on Durabuilt now. What do things look like what do things look like for you right now? And what do you think the next kind of 3 to 5 years looks like for you?
Well, these peoples, especially him, they're doing a great job. I trust them. My involvement is very minimum. I did told them as well, and I believe it. I cannot beat their technology, advanced thinking, whatever you call. At the same time, they can't beat my experience, because experience comes with the hardship. Empty stomach and empty pocket can teach you a lot. which I gone through. My opinion is that, as long as that, my health is there, I will give them my experience, advice, whatever can do, and they will be success. I know that. I believe on them, believe on him. The success is there. They are doing hard work with the smartness. That's and my advice with them all the time.
Lots of change and lots of new things coming in. So another question I like to ask most of people on this podcast too, is there kind of a book or a speaker or kind of a key moment in your life that has kind of changed the way you think? It's kind of a bit of an opportunity to either pass on a recommendation of a book or pass on a lesson that you've had throughout the way. Anything kind of stick out? Maybe I'll let anyone jump in case some people are thinking about it a little bit more.
Well, I don't think so. I don't have the answer for that. As I said, that to me, the way I gone through in my life, empty stomach and empty pocket teach me a lot. That's all I can say. That I learned a lot as we go, and I learned. I don't know, wherever, like wherever I can learn, wherever I can see. That's me. I don't know what to think.
Kind of the power of grit and determination.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I can trace to, I guess I'll call it a turning point, pivot point, an awakening, roughly in about 2008-ish. It was about me working hard, windows and doors, trying to be winning yourself, kind of lonely, you're failing. And, the ego needs to go. And how do you reach out and be vulnerable to reach out? And so I actually joined a farm group at the time. One of my client partners actually gave me the kind of drill on, look, you're trying to grow. We had about a couple hundred people at the time, maybe 250. And, I had 35 direct reports thinking that was great. And you're just running 100 miles an hour, 7 days a week. But I had no support mechanisms, had no one to check me in on what's real. And so the bottom line is you're removing the ego, being vulnerable, and finding the reach out at any level of your business, whether you're a flower shop to a manufacturing to whatever your business is. Every business is important no matter what the size, but finding the people around you, anything that is a coach, support tool to be vulnerable, and then move it forward from there and always be learning, like always be learning. And I get, never be jealous of someone's success, learn from it and find the ingredients. And every single person is gifted with something different than you have at any level. And once you kind of have your mind frame around that, whether it's podcasts, whether it's books, TV, speakers, forum groups, friends, my ingredients come from all elements. I'm not a book reader. I have probably 50 books at home and I've probably read 3. They look good on a shelf. But speakers, podcasts, network, reach out is very critical for any level of business. So that's kind of really where that pivot point. And then lastly, I'll just say that, there was a point where just because you own the business, you don't deserve to be the owner of the president or the CEO of a business. Sometimes you have to fire yourself.
Yeah.
For the sake of others around you and your organization. If you're not doing the right things for your clients, the right things for your employees, and you're at the helm, you got to look in the mirror and say to you, and that just because you own the business doesn't give you a right to be a president or CEO of your business. Either change, adapt, and do the right things for your team members, for your customers in your business all the time, or put someone else in there that can. So,
anything to add, Henny?
Wow. I don't know if he's actually read 3 books either, so I can't lie.
they were 10 pages each.
Yeah. So a lot of my advice that I get comes from Harry as I go through. I've been through leadership journey. We're growing, and I'm taking on different teams and seeing what's going on. So I think the big one for me, and I still, this is something I'm growing is the teams. Growing teams. People can do so much. You think you can do everything. People can do so much more for you if you grow a team, if you focus on the people. Like we talk about, we're in the window business, we're in the manufacturing space, automation space, but we always talk about at the end of the day, we're in the people business. You could have the best technology, everything's going great, but you need great people at the helm of that, wherever that is. So for me, growing teams and growing people and putting a focus on that, that's been really important. And then just working hard and doing things that you're passionate about. Harry always told me, I was doing marketing manager role with a marketing coordinator title or marketing team lead title for quite some time. And just do the work, be passionate about what you do. Sometimes it's not about the title, especially for the younger generation, so concerned about title and this. Sometimes just do the work and you'll find areas you like and you'll naturally grow. You'll get promoted, you'll grow, your peers will see that, people below you that work for you will see that. So it's not about title. It's, do you enjoy coming in to your work every day? And if you don't enjoy it, do you like the vision of where you're going? Because not every day is great, right? Like some days suck, some weeks suck, and for them, some years sucked. But the vision of where you want to be, does that still excite you? I guess so. Yeah, I don't know if that's advice or just kind of copied what he said and a little bit tweaked it, but
I think they're all different perspectives, and I think it was good. I think there's something to take from that too. Of both of you shared it in a slightly different way, but just about finding that passion and making sure you can be, kind of the best that you are in that, but also making sure that you have that balance. Like, we all can't work 12 hours a day, 7 days a week forever. Some days we might have to, but you got to have that balance to kind of be able to get back to your family and get back to your friends and build that community around you.
Yep.
So kind of final wrap up here. Just wanted to thank you all for spending some time with us today and sharing some of your learnings and feedback, kind of growing as a family business, but also as a business family. The one thing I didn't mention so far is that we are really excited to be working with the Sunner family as our signature family for this year. So EP05 has a signature event that we do where we help tell this story. And I can tell from kind of the energy that the three of you have together that there's going to be, I think, a lot of fun, but also a lot of learning that will come out of this, not only for the business family community that will come to the event, but for the three of you and your extended family members as well.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you very much, all of you guys, to bringing us here. I really appreciate from my heart for all of you guys. That's all I can say.
Sure.
Yeah, no, we're honored and feel very appreciated that there's a recognition for the I guess the gratification of some hard work. It wasn't expected. Neither do we. Like I said, we don't talk too much about the wins. We're always talking about the gaps and mistakes, but once in a while, I think the ABFI, that's a very an amazing way for some shared experience in a private family journey, organically grown, without any M&A and everything else. So we're very honored to be part of this event, and thanks for having us today as well, Matt. Appreciate it.
I'll echo that. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
I think the last, what you mentioned there about kind of getting those learnings from that forum group or from wherever you happen to have it, these types of events and these types of conversations are opportunities to have some of those insights that you're not going to find in a book or not going to find in a magazine of, here's how you can do some of those things, or here's some of the questions that will come up.
Yeah. Live learnings in person and war wound stories. They and then generation to generation they change, and as the time goes on, lots is changing in the world of doing things, and we're kind of lucky. There's an revolution that's carried on, and there's a couple more siblings that she has. Hopefully, that will continue to strive and thrive alongside. And she had no choice. It was an ultimatum. She was the eldest. Said, if you don't do it, then you won't even be in the house.
Getting kicked out. I couldn't give up the nightly dinners, so.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to learning more as we go on this journey together. And thank you again for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having
Thank
us.
you very much.
Appreciate it very much.